Okay, I'm going to show you guys how to convert between percents, fractions, and decimals. The first one we're going to look at is just changing a percent to a decimal. Okay, and with all of these, there's just a few kind of tips and tricks I'm going to show you guys, but they're actually really simple. You just got to kind of do it a lot and to where you remember these things. But actually changing these things and converting them is actually fairly straightforward and simple. Okay, the first one we're going to look at percent to decimals. To change a percentage to a decimal, okay, the little trick, I'm going to write out what these things are, okay, for you. So to do this, all you have to do is you're going to move your decimal. So move the decimal two places to the left. Okay, so if I have a percentage like this, 57%, okay, where's my decimal going to be? It's going to be after the number. So I can actually write in my decimal after the number, okay, and I can move that two places to the left, and that would be what 57% is as a decimal. Okay, so I could actually, you would just get rid of that percentage, okay, and that's what you would be left with, 0.57. So 57% as a decimal, you just move it two places to the left, and that's all you got to do. Okay, because that would actually be the same thing if I had 57%, okay, that's the same thing out of 100%, right? So it'd be out of 100, okay, and if I actually took 57 divided by 100, okay, and that's how you would actually do that, okay, but this is kind of the shortcut here. So if I went ahead and divided all that out, I would actually get 0.57. Okay, so instead of actually dividing those numbers every time, all we have to do is move the decimal two places to the left. Okay, so that's the shortcut for that. The next one, so let's look at the changing percent to a fraction. Okay, so changing a percent to a fraction, we have 72%. If we want to change that to a fraction, okay, all we got to do, like I did over here, okay, is put that over 100. Okay, that's all you have to do for a fraction, or changing a percent to a fraction. Okay, because it's out of 100, so we can just take that percentage off there, and that would be our fraction, 72 over 100. The third one, fraction to a decimal. Okay, so changing a fraction to a decimal, we actually do have to divide on this one. Okay, so again, like I kind of explained up at the top here a little bit, you're going to take that numerator, so you're going to take, I'll just write this to the side. You're going to divide, and I'll just say the top number to keep it simple. Okay, so divide the top number by the bottom number. Okay, so you're going to take your numerator divided by your denominator. So the top number goes inside the bracket divided by your bottom number. Okay, and obviously you're going to have a decimal because 8 cannot go into 3, so we put our decimal here. Okay, let me move this problem a little bit. It's going to run into my words there. Okay, so we're going to add a 0. We're going to add a 0 in there, so that number actually becomes 30. Can 8 go into 30? Yes. How many times? That would actually be 3. So you get 24. Okay. So 24 minus 30 minus 24 leaves us with 6. We're going to add another 0. Okay, so how many times can 8 go into 60? Be 7 times. We'd have 56. Subtract that, we get 4. And we'd add another 0. Okay, we drop that down. How many times can 8 go into 40? Would be 5. 8 times 5 is 40. And so if we change that fraction to a decimal, it would actually be 0.375. So 0.375 0.75 as a decimal. Okay, I'm going to erase that real quick so I have room for this other one. Changing a decimal to a percentage, okay, and it's just the reverse of the first one, okay, so to actually do that, the little trick here is just to move the decimal back the other way. So move decimal 2 places to the right this time. Okay, so it's just the opposite of changing a percent to a decimal. Okay, changing the decimal back to a percent is just moving it back in the opposite direction. Okay, so that would actually be the same thing as 24%. Okay, so if you ever see like 0.57, if you want to change that to a percent, move the decimal back this way. If you want to change, if you have 24% and you want to change that to a decimal, you just move it 2 places to the left. And those are kind of the tips on converting. So I'll kind of go through some examples here and look at these. So let's look at this one first. We have 3/5 and we want to change that to a decimal. Okay, so I may give you guys like a table like this that you would fill out. Okay, and you should be able to convert any of these numbers to the other two using those tips I gave you guys. So take 3 divided by 5. How many times can it go in there? We're going to put our decimal at the end here. Okay, it can't go into 3, so we got to add a 0. Can 5 go into 30? Yes. Goes in 6 times. Okay, and that would be 0.6. So I'm going to change my color here. So as a decimal, it's going to be 0.6. Now as a percent, remember we just have to move it 2 places to the right. Okay, and so that would make that a 60%. So that would be 60%. I'll erase that on there. So this one's 0.6, right? 0.6. The next one we have 0.64, so we can change that to a percent, right? So we can move that 2 places to the right, and then it would actually be 64%. Remember, changing your percent to a fraction, we can just put it over 100, so that would be 64 over 100. Okay, let's look at the next one, 55%. Remember, we want to change that to a decimal, so we move it 2 places to the left, so that becomes 0.55. What is that as a fraction? It is 55 over 100, right? So you guys kind of get the gist of this. Okay, that's how you convert. Remember, there's just kind of simple tips to follow. You just gotta kind of memorize those, and then make it a lot easier for you.